All right, Shalom Makim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that's teaching His word on truth, faith, and sincerity. And today, I just want to title this lesson, Edom's fate is World War III. And because ultimately his blessing, which is the sword, is really a curse unto him. And now we're actually seeing that blessing is now becoming a curse. Because now this technology of, nuclear missiles that the allies and even the enemies of the so-called white man possess it. And eventually the allies are going to even turn on America and those tiny hats. But this is what the Lord have chosen to end this age. This event is going to be flipped. It's going to flip the page of this place. This is going to be the end of this chapter, World War III. And that's the spirit on the earth. Talk about there's a time of war. So we coming to the climax of that. So I got this article. This is from NDTV, and it reads, World War III means flood internet amid growing conflict between Israel and Iran. And it also shows you that so-called white man's in power, from his influence. This nigga is real big on folly. Especially when you look at these damn commercials. Whatever the nigga's selling, it's got to be some folly-filled commercial. Try to pitch something to you. But something as serious, World War III. This is an urgent time, sense of urgency the people should be in. Yet, you have, they said, memes flood the internet. People pretty much, yet they see these things taking place in the earth, but take light of it. It says a battle has broken out on social media where users are sharing information nuggets and memes on the ongoing conflict. So I'm just going to jump down some of the things that was on X. Iraq has WMDs. Iran has WMDs, which is weapons of mass destruction. And they said my first World War, kind of nervous. Any two countries at war. Then you got Trump trying to squeeze in. When you promised to end 2 wars and now there are 3. This is a cold one. If nukes fly, can it be in the morning? I don't want to work all day then. Just come home to nukes. And the shit funny. But it's so serious because guess what? This is a reality in the planet Earth. World War III. Matter of fact. And then, it's all this, like I said, it's folly. The president you voted for, the president you got. And that's the spirit. Because them tiny hats, them niggas gonna drag America into World War III as well as the other. They're gonna be that's the secret. When it's known now that that's the ingredient to World War III. These tiny hats, man. As a matter of fact, let's start out with this in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 9. So like, yeah. No, it's Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah 30 verse 24 reads, the first anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it. See? In the latter days, the wrath of the Lord is going to be on display. And the climax of that is World War III. And it says, ye shall consider it. And one of the words for consider, you're going to the definition of it is to teach. So we pretty much bringing forth the intents and purposes of the Lord. His anger is going to be on display through World War III in his climax. And those missiles being shot back and forth throughout the earth. And the main target being America. This place is prophesied and destined to be a desert when literally the smoke clears and the dust settles. And that's the fate of Edom. Going back to the title of the lesson, Edom's fate is World War III. This is going to be the end of the so-called white man. And you have people on the internet, they taking it light. You got these memes. Yet this is a reality. This is what's going to actually end this system. That's going to end this age. World War III. Matter of fact, what's that? 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 28. It reads, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. So that evil that has been sown is really America. This place is the source of wickedness. These different trends and all these, the influences come from Babylon the Great, America. The so-called white man. He's the one that signs off. He got the resource, the money to put up for all these things to influence the nations. From a nigga wearing a 3-piece suit, that's the standard of being formal and professional. You gotta have a damn tie and some fucking a suit, a blazer. That's the standard of being formal and professional in this system. That nigga set that up for you to be a pilot, no matter what country you come from. Wherever you stem from, you better learn how to speak English. And for that country, you better be okay with homos. That's this devil, man. The so-called white man, because if you say no to any of those things, he'll bomb you to hell and back. He will send forth sanctions. So this is the place of evil. This is the source of the wickedness. It says, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. I'll show you that America's not the end all be all. Eventually, its fate is destruction. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown for good. So this place, it has to really be uprooted violently. When you read Revelation 18 chapter, it talks about thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down. And that's where we coming to the build up to that. Just the thought of World War III, that being a actual thing in the earth, that's in the minds of the people now. These people literally got to consider it, that World War III can happen. And that's why you got memes. Because there is truth in comedy. But, these Americans, these people today, they're docile. They want to take light of everything, and they possess normalcy bias. But this is actually the fate of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is to go out. Now they got them fireworks for the 4th of July. Well, that's how this place is going to go out. How the nigga introduced the Fabulous 50s when he dropped them bombs on them gooks. Well, that's how this place is going to go out. And the kingdom of heaven is going to be introduced. By the way of the destruction, that's going to be that transition. And World War III is... that's the intents and purposes of the Lord. What's that? Talk about this battle. Let's get that real quick. Isaiah 9:5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." So this battle, the war that's going to end all wars, World War III, is going to be with burning fuel of fire. Because it's nuclear war. Everybody got a button now. Everybody got that button, man. Jake used that when they speak on the switch. He and these nations got the ultimate switch, which those missiles, man. Because that one missile carries multiple. You got one missile. You think it's just one missile, and 20 warheads come out of it. That's that real switch. That's that real button. And that's what this battle is going to be filled with, nuclear war. Everybody, it's not going to be, they talking about niggas saying it's a ground troops to Iran. 3 years, World War III been going on for 3 years. Niggas still on the ground. No, once it pops off and it climax, the missiles going to be shot off. The end of World War II, that was a prelude to how World War III is going to play out. With this battle is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. And that's why the perfect candidate is here in power for that to happen. Esau. Because his blessing is the sword. You got to have the guy with that attribute for this battle to take place like that, man. And the elder Aaron, he touches on that, when he pulled out the prophets, that was the proper tool for this time. You don't use a screwdriver for a hammer's job. You got a screwdriver, but you really need a hammer. That's why Esau is in power right now for this battle to take place. And this nigga think he's gonna prosper. But no, this is really gonna be a curse unto him. Because this scripture talk about how the sword, this is how he's gonna live. But also this is how he's gonna die too. This is how he's gonna be taken out. Yahushua mentioned that. He that take it with the sword, he's gonna be killed with it as well. Live by the gun, die by the gun. That saying. That's an actual saying that's going to play out in this empire. As a matter of fact, I end off on this. The book of Jeremiah 49. In verse 18, it says, "As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord." Matter of fact, let me jump up, Salakia. Verse 17. "Also Edom shall be a desolation." See, this is a promise. The Lord put it on himself. He gonna make this happen, man. It says, "Everyone that goeth by shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the players thereof." So they ain't talking about over there in the area of Jordan. People are shocked at how the land look. No, that's concerning after World War III, and when the smoke cleared, the dust settled, when they see America, it's going to be an eerie sight. It's going to be an eerie sight to see America after World War III. After those, the scripture talk about from generation, ain't no telling how many, it might be hundreds of years before, the smoke clear, the dust settle. This place is going to be on fire, the whole landmass, from those warheads as well as the fire from the chariots, the so-called UFOs, man. Talk about the Lord shall send fanners. They're going to have those angels going to contribute to that fire getting hotter, man. So that's concerning America it's going to be an eerie sight. There's no coincidence. This is the uttermost parts of the earth, the ends of the earth. It's kind of separated from everything else, man. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. And how was that judgment? How did that judgment happen? It was through that fire and brimstone raining down. And what's the modern day form of that brimstone? Fire and brimstone, those nuclear missiles. Those missiles, that's that modern form of the fire and brimstone. So the Edom is going to get the same judgment, because these niggas the modern Sodomites. Talk about how Babylon being spiritually Sodom and Egypt. So them niggas doing the same thing. That means they're going to get the same judgment as well. Because when you go into Sodom and Gomorrah, Scripture talk about how that was an example from the acts, and as well as that judgment as well. That was an example of how the Lord is going to take care of Babylon, man. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, said the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. And that's why when you read concerning Edom, it talks about Babylon, you read Isaiah 34, Jeremiah, I think it's 50 or 51, Revelation 18. It all talks about how that land is going to be a desert. And the only thing that's going to dwell there is desert creatures, unclean animals, owls, and, things of that nature. And it might say Edom or Babylon, or even in the Apocrypha, talk about how the Lord said he's going to destroy all of the land of Egypt. But it's still talking about America. That's the fate of this place. And this is how the so-called white man is going to go out. This is his blessing. And now it is becoming a curse unto him. So yeah, I just hope this will edify, and I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, that teaching the word in all true faith and sincerity. Shalom.